Okay, so when shooting Dahlia's video, this was the first shot that I started with. It was the whole video was shot inside this really beautiful looking house, and it just had a lot of different, interesting looking rooms and decorations. So we used it, and it was enough to keep the whole music video, I think, interesting. The first shot here, I mean, it right away looks pretty beautiful. I just had her standing in the kitchen by this big window, and it was an overcast day outside. So as you can see, it created a really nice sort of a soft lighting, and which would have worked, let's say, if this was, let's say, a dramatic movie or more of a like a serious music video. Now we were going more for this kind of a pop look, so I wanted to really kind of add a lot of different colors and kind of more of this glamour lighting on her. So next thing I ended up doing is adding this backlight there behind her. So it was just it was basically to the right side of the camera, basically directly behind her, and it's the 1000 watt redhead light that I have with kind of an orange gel on it. Here you can see the light and with the gel on it. And then the next light I end up adding is this blue light, because I didn't want everything there in the background to have that orange tint. I just wanted that orange tint just on her. And but I felt like with too much of that orange on those shelves there, it almost feels like it's kind of a, I don't know, maybe almost like candle lit kind of a scene. So I ended up adding another 1000 watt redhead, and this time with a blue gel on it. So and I just that one I just pointed it at those shelves over there, and right away it's looking pretty cool. This is here you can see that the second light with the blue gel underneath there on the bottom. And the last thing I end up adding is that big softbox you see there in the top left corner. Here you can see me turn it on. And what that provides is just a sort of a nice soft frontal lighting that kind of gives you that little bit of that Hollywood starlet look with that soft shadow under her chin. And here's me, once I was happy with the lighting, I would just sort of quickly switch the angle of the camera. I was getting a close-up of her hands, things like that. I got also got close-up of her face, things like that. So I don't have to change the lighting simply because we were always more or less from the same angle. I would just kind of punch in on her hands or on her face. So that was it. And the next setup was also here in the kitchen, and I used both of those redheads. One has the orange filter, the other has the blue one. The only thing that's changed is I took out that softbox, and instead of the softbox, I ended up putting in a big ring light, which you can build it yourself. This one I actually built on my own, which you can see in my one of my online tutorials on YouTube. If you want to check it out, see how you can build it, or you can buy similar ring lights. But I find like the one that I built, I'm really happy with because it's really big. And what that creates, this kind of, it kind of creates these neat-looking reflections in the subject's eyes. So you can see just a kind of a like you catch that kind of a round reflection right in the center of her eyes, and also it just creates these very soft sort of a glowy look to her whole face. And the idea with the ring light is that you point it at your subject, and then you see that big hole inside the ring light. Well, that's basically where I have the camera filming through. So I'm right there behind the ring light, and I'm just pointing my camera right through the center of that hole onto Dahlia's face. And it's a pretty cool effect. I've used it on a few music videos already. Here's another scene inside a bedroom where I just wanted to have Dahlia sort of folding laundry. And this is how it looks with the lighting that was there on the location. There's this sort of a big window there just behind her to the right side, and it was kind of creating this backlight on her, so she was basically underexposed. So what I end up doing is adding this my big softbox there where the window was, just sort of to create this a bit more of a concentrated, sharper light. And then on the opposite side of her, here on the right side here you can see I had those two Kino flows, which are really nice lights. Again, if you can't get those, you can use those hardware lights, hardware fluorescent lights. And then I also have my redhead with a blue filter on it, and that's just to sort of light just the lower portion of her body and kind of more the laundry. And here's how it looks once I turn on those Kino flows. It creates right away sort of a nice directional lighting, and then I turn on that softbox that's behind there where the window is, just to kind of add a bit of that nice soft reflection on the on her left arm there and on the back of her head and the hair. And that's, that's the finished shot. You can see me here filming. And again, that redhead there with that blue gel on it, that doesn't really, as you can see, doesn't point on Dahlia. It's there just to catch the like a little bit of extra reflection on the bed sheet, like when she flings those bed sheets there in the air. Here's another interesting shot that we were trying to do. This was in the basement of that same house, and I just had a few people stand in with cameras and pretend that they were paparazzi trying to get a shot of her. Now the problem you'll notice is it creates this, when you use actual flashes while recording, it creates this kind of a weird strobe effect. And the reason is because when you're shooting with digital SLRs, or most cameras these days, even like the red Scarlet, or red one camera, they all shoot with a rolling shutter. And rolling shutter means that it doesn't capture the whole image at once. It kind of captures it, line by line, and it happens very fast. But when you're trying to film things that like camera flashing, you'll run into problems where half of the frame, for example, as you can see here, will have the camera flash visible, and the other half won't, and it just looks ugly then when you're playing it back. So since I wanted to get this sort of a slow motion shot of Dahlia walking and having paparazzis kind of flash cameras in her face, I had to end up cheating it. And what we did instead is we had everybody turn off their flash, and I actually placed a few people, in between them with actual real lights. So we sort of used different desk lamps and whatever extra lights we had, and we just had them turn those lights on and off really fast. But because they weren't, they're never going to be as fast as a camera flash, you don't see that effect, that strobing effect. And it works pretty well. But another thing I noticed is that it was still, first of all, it wasn't strong enough. Those little lights that we had going on and off, and the color of them was kind of not all the way there. So in post-production, I end up fixing that by adding a little special effect, and also by adjusting the colors. This here is another performance shot. This was the last shot we got on that day, and the lighting here is super simple. It's as simple as it gets, and I just wanted to show you, just sort of to illustrate. Basically, all I have there is, I'm sitting here on a dolly. I just have somebody moving the dolly slightly forward and backwards while she's performing. But you can see there on the top, all we have is just that one Kino flow light, and it's just sort of shining, straight down onto her face, just to create those kind of nice shadows under her chin and her nose. And it's, that's really all you need. I mean, I do have, if you notice there in the left and right corner behind those couches, I have these other small lights that are just lighting the background. They're not affecting Dahlia at all. They're not really necessary though, because as you can see in the shot, I can't even really see those lights or the parts of the wall there that they're hitting. So really, it's all about that one Kino flow that's pointed at Dahlia, and that simulates sort of that Hollywood starlet look, where like those old Marilyn Monroe photos, where all you had is just this one light, and it just creates this sort of a dark, and so, in a way, harsh shadow under her chin and the nose, and but it also makes her face look kind of. It tends to kind of make the cheekbones kind of stand out, and it really profiles the face a lot nicer. And then afterwards, I just took the camera off the dolly, and I put it on my tripod, and put in a longer lens. This was a 100mm lens. The previous shot was filmed on the 50mm lens, and you can see right away how the same lighting, it just works beautiful. And another reason why this shot happens to look so nice is because the location itself was so interesting. The location, Dahlia's outfit, the makeup, everything. So like I said, when you put in extra work, and you arranged to have interesting looking locations, props, costumes, all those things, then it makes your job as a cinematographer a lot easier. Because really you don't have to then fix up or try to make the shot look beautiful by overlighting it. And you know, this is a perfect example, just one light and it works.